everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And today I've got a really good video for you called Why We Need to Talk About Adult Autism, and it's by a Irish comedian called Aoife Dooley, and it was updated online on the 22nd of June. And yeah, it's something that's important to me as an adult on the autistic spectrum, so I thought I'd talk about it. And it says that she's an outspoken advocate for autism awareness. Aoife Dooley says it's been one of the reasons for her success and why she'd not want to change that part of herself. She's also an illustrator, comedian and an author. Roddy Doyle once reached out to her to compliment her work, said it reminded him of why he loves Dublin. Remembering that moment, she says that she needs to go down the stairs. So I can actually agree with her that I'm an outspoken advocate for autism awareness. I'm autistic myself, and the fact that I was actually diagnosed around a similar time as her. I was diagnosed at 26 years of age, and I can agree with her also that it gave me a greater understanding of myself, that I've learned a lot about myself and other people who are around me, my family, my friends, the support network that I have from professionals who I work with within the mental health field. And within the autism field, I do a lot of campaigning work in the local area in which I live. I've now been diagnosed 7.5 years, so it's kind of, I've got used to being diagnosed and what it means to be on the spectrum, so I can simplify with her with that. And then she goes on to say she spent her whole life trying to fit in to please other people. Again, I can simplify with that because at the time you don't know that you're different. Like she says that she had to try and articulate why she was different and why she'd want to avoid other people and be in her own space, in her own room. I can agree with that. I've often wanted it just to be in my own room, and I kind of isolate myself and do things that I'm passionate about myself. And it's kind of, you're on a constant journey to understand yourself, and a lot of autistic people need the isolation just to relax and recharge their batteries and make themselves feel better, especially when you're at school and you're getting teased, bullied all day, harassed, and all the sensory input with demanding schoolwork and such things like that. So yeah, and she said she didn't realise the extent of the spectrum until she was diagnosed. Again, I can simplify and understand that, because when you're on the spectrum, or you think you're on the spectrum, and you're sitting there having to defend yourself and find out about what autism actually is. I had a very stereotypical view of what autism was before I got diagnosed. I kind of knew some of it from TV and YouTube clips that I'd watched, and what I'd seen was not what I was expecting. I was like, there's no way I'm like this, it's not me, kind of thing. So you get, everything becomes heightened and you become very unsure of yourself. So it's the fact you just have to learn to understand yourself, and the fact that when you're on the spectrum everything is different. You have to learn to try and be yourself and understand what autism means to you as an adult being diagnosed. And she says in recent years we've experienced an increasing number of adults concerned they may be on the spectrum. A person may wonder if they're autistic by reading something or seeing something on the TV. However, they've gone through most of their life without a formal diagnosis. Like myself, I didn't get diagnosed until my mid-20s, which means for me it was a struggle. I had to learn to kind of self-cope and try and mimic and fit into a world that doesn't really understand people being different. So if it wasn't for my mum, my dad and people around me who pushed me for the assessment, and I went to see the doctor for underlying things such as anxiety behaviour and kind of feeling emotional all the time, because I'd gone through a really hard time of actually losing two of my best friends. They passed away during the period where I started getting distressed and anxious and worried about a lot of things in my life. So that kind of led to the autism coming up, and we kind of had to get an assessment, because a lot of people, like it says on here, a lot of adults get assessed and diagnosed through the mental health route via depression or anxiety behaviour, and that often will trigger the autism assessment, because that's when it gets seen in a lot of cases. So yeah, I again struggled through doing that and having to be diagnosed and assessed and asked all different questions about my life and how I coped and how I managed to get through it all. So ASD is also talked more in the media now, and the fact that people can self-identify. Again, I agree with that, because a lot more media pressure is put on it. There's a lot more news stories out in the press now to highlight autism in the spectrum, what it means, especially people like myself who have done stories about being part of social groups. I've had my own diagnosis story put out in the local news press where I live to help people understand what autism is and how it can affect girls, because a lot of the time girls are hidden. We don't often get picked up. We're often misdiagnosed with other things such as mental health or other behaviours that people get worried about. And after a while, like she says, it does start to become natural and part of who you are, so we kind of adapt to it, and we take what autism is and we have to just fight through society and what they like to do. And she mentions about the anti-vaccine debate, and I agree with her time and time again, the fact that it is discredited. MMR does not cause autism. It's been delinked so many times, and the actual doctor got struck off, and he's not allowed to actually practice medicine here in the UK ever again, and he shouldn't be allowed to practice abroad where he lives now anyway, because he is actually struck off and does not have a whole medical license whatsoever, so he is not allowed to generally practice. And now also she says about people fear autism because they don't understand what it is. People don't realise that without the autistic minds we have today, we wouldn't have the technology, music or art that we have today, which is true because a lot of autistic people do a lot of the technology, especially people like Bill Gates and other people, Steve Jobs, God bless his soul, rest in peace Steve Jobs. He was a really fantastic, clever man who made all the Apple products and sadly lost his life, so he was a very, very good technical aspie man. So yeah, that's kind of things like that you don't realise that actually happen for us. And she goes on to say that she thinks it's funny that when people try and attack us for our autism to use it against us, it's actually a self-defence mechanism we use, because we're like, really, you're going to attack us for having autism? It's part of who we are. We live with it day in, day out, regardless if we want to or not. And it's just a part of who we are. It doesn't define us all the time, so therefore we shouldn't be attacked for something that we have to live with. And it's just something that at first you can struggle with, and you have to kind of think how many other more people are out there living with it who don't know they're diagnosed or don't know what autism is. And I've been very lucky, like her. She says since she started talking about it online, she's had a lot more people reach out to her, and she's helped a lot more people understand how the spectrum works and what it is. And that's kind of the experience I've had as well. A lot of people reach out to me. I do a lot of work with other people in my community. Like recently I've got the local train operator to do some work with me, and they've been in contact with me, so I'm going to start doing that as a project. And also people, especially when, like we say, they go under the radar for autism because our behaviour is not noticed, or we fit into the point where we can act like a neurotypical person. And autism as well in many females is different from the male autism. So for males it's more of an obvious giveaway, whereas for females we don't tend to be noticed that much, and we fit under the radar to the point where people don't think we have it. But we may, the only giveaways that we do have it may be eye contact, poor body language, the fact we struggle to engage in like comedy, and we don't pick up sarcasm, things like that. So again, each woman on the spectrum is different, and we do develop our own coping strategies. So a lot of people don't understand we have to take a while to see what works for us and what doesn't. So for me it's fidget toys, for me it's doing poetry, for me it's creating videos to make you guys aware of how it can affect us personally on a day-to-day basis. And we have to learn to be kind, support to ourselves, take our mental health seriously. So for me, I also have anxiety disorder, so I can learn to take time out, relax, be with my family, do my poetry, do other things to put my mind off it when I get into a stressful situation. We can know we can take time out, that it's okay to take time out and be ourselves, and increase our relationships with friends and family. And you can only help so many people at one time, and you can try and make the world change about their attitude towards autism, but it's one day at a time. It's going to be a constant learning curve for all of us. So I hope you liked this video. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time for the next video. Bye!